Welcome. My name is Samuel James Price, the Crypto Lifer, and every single week on a Friday afternoon, I give you the macro weekly technical analysis. We go over Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, total 3, S&P futures, Nasdaq futures, and the DXY, as well as another secret awesome chart that you're going to see at the end if you stay tuned. So with that being said, let's break it down for Bitcoin. Right now, I'm watching the 8-hour time frame. Why? The 8 hour has been my go-to. When we got above the 8 hour here on the 200 SMA, I knew we had a chance for a big move. We did. When we lost the 8 hour here and we lost the 8 hour here, I told you it was going to be pain, and it was. Then we fought this inverted head and shoulder back up, which also had an inverted. I called a long right here on the 4 hour time frame. That long is actually still in play. Then we broke above the 200 SMA, which I said that's beautifully bullish on the 8 hour, which I made a long call there. I got in right there. When we got up to here, I took my profits. We were up huge. I figured it was just, you had to take some profits, so I did. And now and then what happened was the 4 hour and these time frames, they got too far away from the 21-day moving average on the pump. All week, I called for a move back to the 21. Once you lose that, I called for a move back to the 8 hour 21, and we did that. And now possibly even the daily 21 is pretty close. Today, we technically wicked pretty far to this resistance at 66.9, 67K, and we bounced off of it, showing signs of 67,000 pretty strong. I use the 22-hour too sometimes. You can see that's a bullish reversal candle right there so far. Not saying it's a guarantee, but so far so good. And then I'm looking at the 8 hour, which has a swing up to swing up, but a swing down on the RSI, which is called hidden bullish divergence. See that? Hidden bullish. Don't mind that yellow line. That's just part of... Well, to me, it's not a perfect cup, but it has that cup aspect of that cup and handle vibe, Sammy, cup and handy. So the stochastics are turning back up after being low. We have hidden bullish divergence, and we have the MACD turning. And I like a falling wedge that breaks up 68% of the time. So we're looking for a move here on the 8 hour time frame. Our 8 hour candle just closed bullishly. It's a bullish engulfer. We'll see what happens now in the next, in the next 8 hours. And I would watch this closely. You're going to be watching this in the afternoon. So, around Friday night at 10, 12 o'clock tonight, and eventually the daily close as well. But take a look at how this 8 hours starts to pan out into Saturday morning and Saturday night. This looks bullish to me. But again, we also are hitting some resistances. So as bullish as it looks, some key areas have to be broken. We did earlier today break above the 7-minute 200 SMA, which I know is smaller time frame sauce, but you'd be surprised how that can lead to a bigger macro move. So that's a bullish move so far for Bitcoin, right? And we got a golden cross there, and it did produce a pretty big move. We were able to trade this on the live stream earlier today. It was pretty fun. We got a piece of this as it happened. So right now, Bitcoin's looking pretty bullish on the 8 hour. We're looking for a reversal. We don't have all the answers yet. But what I'm seeing right now, like this preemptive golden cross, it looks like when I'm back next week, Bitcoin should be higher than it is, not lower than it is. We should get a move further to the upside based on the probabilities at hand. You never know. Total market cap is going to be doing the same thing. You got this big falling wedge, you broke out, and then in the 8 hour, we're all watching these flags here. That's really what it comes down to. And we're touching the 21, oversold. This actually looks a little even more bullish than Bitcoin. The golden cross is flatter. Previous resistance is support as well on total. So the total market cap, if it breaks below 2.48, fine. It's going to come back down and test this chop area here, which is 2.28. But as long as it bounces, which it looks like it will based off this golden cross coming, that usually tells you you're going to get a bounce. And you're on previous resistance as support. That's pretty bullish for me. And I see the 8 hour making a move. I see it basically says by next week, we should be getting a bullish move for the entire market cap of cryptocurrency. Same thing's going to be happening here on Total 3, just a little bit different of a setup. We had this beautiful kind of ascending triangle. Well, I call it a symmetrical. We broke out. We got above the 200 on the 8, which is bullish. We broke back down. We lost the 200 on the 8. Right now, the 8 hour needs to reclaim that 200 SMA to become bullish. It's basically the same flag. The altcoins just look a little different. What the altcoins are also doing traditionally is they're retesting the top trend line of the bigger channel with the low stochastic. They too also have a bit of hidden bullish divergence on the 8 hour. Why the 8 hour time frame? I can't tell you why. I started using different time frames. I've been trading for 15 years. After 5 years, you're kind of bored with the 4 hour, the daily, the 15, like everyone else uses. And One day you venture out and use a different one, then you grab another one, then you learn, and then you see how they manipulate different moving averages on different time frames, and whoever is doing this or whatever bots are getting sparked is like, if this 8 hour breaks this, that's going to be a bot move and we're going to get a pump. But if you don't know that and how to look at it in a time frame, how to look at that on this time frame, you won't be able to see that happening and you will miss that key move. So again, the resistance is going to be $685 billion for the total 3. We got to break that. And again, if we fall back inside the pattern, it's a shoulder, head, right shoulder or something, and then we could dump. So once price action gets back in the 66.7, 66.5, or 665 billion, it's like we're going to likely fall down. So you don't want to break back inside the pattern. We want to see this break and become what's called a retest from the top of this channel. It looks likely on the 8 hour, but you can see all the time frames, everything. We're all waiting on that falling wedge on the 8 hour time frame. We take a look at Bitcoin dominance, and Bitcoin dominance, showing signs of a bigger move, but now falling off this kind of channel, but trying to get back inside. When we zoom in here on the 3-day, you can see we are green. These are the two areas where you're going to get bearish retest and fall down, or we're going to pump back inside this pattern and do some damage. It does tell you to watch your altcoins. It says we could get a move, back to the top. Right now I'm saying, hey, we got to get back inside this pattern. So I'm firm on this, on being outside of the trend line. We get back inside, boom, we can go. We do this, then it's altcoin season. So it's kind of like, we get Bitcoin dominance to give back a little bit, and altcoins can really get a move. Bitcoin dominance comes back up and gets ready for a parabolic run, and it's not going to be altcoin season just yet. So this kind of has a key to altcoin season. Do we get a bear? And maybe we get a little quick bearish retest back, but whatever it is, we would like to see a bearish retest here if you want to see the altcoins really get a bigger move. If this comes back inside, it's starting to look like a parabolic rising wedge for Bitcoin, right, on Bitcoin dominance. So, and it is getting oversold, like it's going to curve. It just looks like it's getting ready for some type of move. Tether dominance is right where we kind of wanted it to be. The 3-day chart did dump, but it didn't dump as much as we wanted. I would like it to have given up a little more dominance. I don't know who's holding on to their Tether, certainly, but there you go. I guess I have some Tether actually stashed for, I guess for a rainy day, I guess. So you never know, but previous resistance, and then we get a bounce here at 4.35. Boom. You'd like to see that fall off. Like, we want to see that continue to the downside. However, the way the moving averages are far apart, and that's finally your higher low, it's interesting. I guess Tether dominance going to take a bit of a move back up. Even on the daily, Tether dominance looks like it wants to bounce. So that's pretty strange. I'll tell you what, if Bitcoin decides to fall out of that channel and drop, and Tether dominance drops up, then we're going to get a dump for Bitcoin. So, there's still a chance we do get a dump for Bitcoin here. This is telling me to be careful, that it's not all gravy. Tether dominance wants to pump for some reason on the daily time frame, and if it was bearish, it would have lost more. The last 3 days, people have been kind of getting into Tether a little bit. That's not the best sign. That's definitely something we have to pay attention to. So what we're hoping for is just a bearish retest. Like, people try to run into Tether for a second, and then we start the major collapse. You do not want to see Tether dominance break back above the daily 200 MA. If you see that can spell some disaster for the crypto market. S&P futures, we said it would pump out this flag. It did, but then got the crazy rejection, okay? Now you're looking at it's trying to reverse today after some wacky moves. So I'm attempting to make sense of the S&P here. What I can say and what I can show you is we had the falling wedge breakout. We double topped at resistance, basically came back down. But see how the moving averages are starting to kind of get close, and the 200s in conjunction. To me, it says we're starting something like this, And so just look for us to consolidate here and get ready for its next leg up. I wouldn't be surprised on this macro idea that we're going to go up and down tight, and eventually break on out. Your next target I'm looking at is 540. I don't know if we'll be there by next week. We may just fill this flag out by the next time I show up, but I'm more bullish on the S&P than bearish. The Nasdaq, the same thing. I'm just, looking to see how we're going to interact with the 21-day moving average. The daily on the Nasdaq's a little high, and there's a little bit of bearish div there that does suggest a possible pullback. So this is what I see happening for the Nasdaq is like, you make something like this. Again, this is all speculative because I only really have one touch, but and you consolidate in here. Now, you could double top and start a massive dump down, come to the 200 SMA and bounce. It looks more likely you're going to go sideways and continue further up. But you never know. I am being pretty speculative from far apart. We'll have to take it one day at a time. The daily does suggest a move back down, though. So in the next couple, I'd say in the next week, I would expect a pullback for the Nasdaq. All right. And last but not least, Bitcoin, which is, I would look at this on the bigger time frames on the weekly. The smaller time frames, it actually took a little bit of a loss. You can see coming down. To me, I see it like this. It broke out, broke back inside, and it makes more sense that it's inside of this bigger flag, like an ascending triangle almost with a rising wedge vibe. And, you know, that tells me that Solana, if Solana and Bitcoin, if the market even goes sideways and then we start to get a pump and the market does go where it needs to go, Solana is going to pump harder than Bitcoin. That's just what's going to happen. So I see Solana pumping harder than Bitcoin when they pump together. And so this is something I would watch. And it definitely says you can multiply your Bitcoin. And it may take many, many weeks, but, you know, just something to think about, the Sol BTC chart. And I'll have another different chart for you next week too. So stay tuned for next week. I have another idea that I already have in my mind that I'm planning long-term that I'm going to show you. So everybody, thank you so much for watching the macro technical analysis. I really appreciate it. It means you took yourself seriously. You're taking your, responsible. You want to see the bigger idea of what's happening. Even though we do trade the intraday 1 minute, we're all over smaller time frames. I want you to realize I do look at the bigger time frames all the time, and I don't get caught up in the smaller time frames too much. I always really have a bigger picture in mind of what's happening in the markets. And a lot of times I won't trade the smaller time frames unless I see some bigger catalyst or a nice move on the bigger time frames. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life. I love you all, and I appreciate you for coming to my channel. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.